Hello, ninth graders. It is Bowman here with week 2, lesson 3. We're going to be talking about distributing today. We're going to be calling back to the distributive property. This is something in theory you should have covered last year, maybe the year before that. But we're going to talk about it again now because if I want you to use it, I have to show you. And I want to give you all the benefits of the doubt and the chance to learn. So if you will recall, you may have once learned about the distributive property. If we have A outside of parentheses, what that A is doing there, it is multiplying everything on the inside of the parentheses. So I like to draw little rainbows. I'm doing A and I'm multiplying it by B, and I'm doing A and I'm multiplying it by C. So A times B is AB, and A times C is AC. Another example is right below where we have B minus C. It's important to note the difference is that if there's a minus sign, there's a minus sign. Keep track of negatives, but I'd still be doing A times B and then A times that negative C. I get AB and I get negative AC. What we are doing, we are taking the number on the outside of the parentheses or the variable on the outside of the parentheses or the variable term, so number and letter on the outside, and we're multiplying it by everything that is on the inside of the parentheses. We are multiplying everything in the parentheses. I like to draw this out by drawing little rainbows. This 7, if I were to read this out loud, I would say 7 times x plus 4. This 7 is multiplying everything on the inside of the parentheses, so 7 times x, and then 7 is also going to be multiplying by the 4. 7 times x is written as 7x. 7 times 4 is 28, and it's a positive 4 and a positive 7, so it's going to be a positive 28. Again, what did I do? I did 7 times x, which gave me 7x, and then I did 7 times 4, which gave me 28. And I simplified that. I wrote it out as 7x plus 28. If I have 2 times b minus 3, I'm going to take that 2, I am multiplying it by b. I am also going to multiply 2 by negative 3. Everything on the inside of the parentheses gets multiplied by that 2 on the outside. 2 times b is 2b. So 2b. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. So I have 2b minus 6. Something that's interesting to note. What if I had 2 times b? The parentheses in this instance act the same as a multiplication sign. So parentheses are another way of writing out multiplication, meaning 4 times 2 can be written out like 4 in parentheses and 2 in parentheses right next to it, and that would be 8. Or 4 times 2 is 8. There's lots of different ways to show that you are multiplying things. You can use parentheses, you can use dots, you can use X's. The first time this came up for me was in 3rd grade. I saw those parentheses and I had no clue what to do because I had missed school that day. And I was at home with my Nana because my grandparents raised me, and she had no clue what to do either because she hadn't been in school in like 30 years. So neither of us knew that parentheses were another way of indicating or saying that you were going to be multiplying. But now we all do. And so when we're doing the distributive property and we have an entire statement in parentheses, so a statement being like b minus 3, that number on the outside is multiplying everything, each part. Here I have negative 4 times y plus 3. I'm going to take negative 4 and multiply it by y, and then also take negative 4 and multiply it by 3. Negative 4 times y is negative 4y. Negative 4 times positive 3 is negative 12. So notice how I have a minus 12 there. It's because I had a negative number times a positive number. I have negative 4 minus 12. Scrolling down, my next example, I have 5 times 2m minus 3. I'm going to do 5 times 2m, and then 5 times negative 3. So what do I do when I have 5 times 2m? That's a good question. I am going to multiply the coefficient by the 5. So remember from our last conversation, if you watch the last video, the coefficient is the number that's in front of the m. I am multiplying 5 times 2m. A reminder for us all how multiplication works. If I were just to do 5 times 3, or we'll do 5 times 4, because we have a 5 times negative 3. 5 times 4. This means I'm adding 4 together 5 times. That is what multiplication is doing, is I'm taking 4 and I'm adding it together 5 times, and I'm getting 20. So if I'm doing 5 times 2m, I'm going to have 5 groups of 2m that I'm adding up. And I know how to combine like terms. If I have 5 groups of 2m, I have 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. I have 10 m's there. Notice this is the same as doing 5 times 2 and getting 10 for my coefficient. The m doesn't change, it just stays an m. That's all there is to say for it right now. 5 times negative 3, if I shoot that in my calculator, I get minus 15. So now I have 10m minus 15. If you need a reminder about what to do when you're multiplying a number by a variable term, so something with a coefficient and a variable there, check back to this. Try to remember what multiplication actually means. Here I have negative 3 times 2x minus 4. Oh, I have one last one after this. So negative 3 times 2x, negative 3 times negative 4. So like I said before, we're taking this 3 and we're multiplying it by our coefficient. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. And the x comes along with because it was with the 2. Negative 3 times negative 4, the second part of our problem right here, is going to give me a positive 12. A negative times a negative is a positive. A negative times a positive is a negative. A positive times a positive is a positive. So, yes, like calls to like. If you have the same exact thing, we're happy. If you are opposites, we are negative. Yeah, that's how I like to think of it. 2 negative numbers make a positive. 2 positives make a positive. Opposites do not attract. A negative plus positive is just a big old negative. These are the rules when multiplying, at least. So there's a little multiplication cheat sheet for you. This would be my answer, though. I have a weird one right here. I have d times c minus 4. I'm taking d, I'm distributing it, I'm multiplying it by c, I'm multiplying it by negative 4. D times c is literally written out as dc. And I am not talking about the comic brand. That was a joke for some of you out there. For others, it doesn't mean anything. If I'm multiplying two variables, I just write them right next to each other. It is implied or it is assumed that there is a multiplication symbol in between them. You do not need to write it. Just like how I don't have a multiplication symbol in between that negative 6 and the x there. It's just kind of assumed to be there. D times negative 4, d times negative 4 is the same as negative 4 times d, which we write as just minus 4d, negative 4d. They're just sitting right next to each other. If you want to put the little multiplication symbol there, you can, but you don't have to. I did have one more example down here, a fraction. I find that many students have forgotten how to work with fractions, how to multiply fractions. I have 1/4 times 8x minus 4. I'm taking 1/4, I'm multiplying it by 8x. I'm taking 1/4 and I'm multiplying it by negative 4. To multiply fractions, first we need everything to be a fraction. I'm doing 1/4 times 8. 1 over 4 times 8. To write 8 as a fraction, I write it as 8 over 1. You can write any number as a fraction by putting it over 1. When you multiply fractions, you multiply the tops and the bottoms. So 1 times 8 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. 8 over 4, or 8 divided by 4, can be simplified to 2. So 1/4 times 8 is 2. So 1/4 times 8x is 2x. 1/4 times 4, I'm going to rewrite 4 as 4 over 1. And this is a negative. I should keep track of that. I have 1 times -4, which is -4, because I multiplied the numbers that are on the tops of the fractions. I have 4 times 1, the numbers on the bottom of the fractions, which is 4. 4, -4 divided by 4 is -1. And you can do that in your calculator as well. So 1/4 times -4 is -1, -1. So we had a couple little reminders here. We had reminders of how to multiply with fractions, reminders of multiplying with negative numbers, how multiplication actually works. Next week we'll be distributing, but we'll be doing even bigger problems, and you'll be distributing and combining like terms all at once. So the last 2 lessons smushed, or this one and the last lesson smushed together. Thank you for being here with me today. I hope you have a great day, evening, whatever time it is, and I look forward to hearing from you if you have questions. All right, bye.